What's up, guys? This is Astranox. In this Etheria Restart video, I want to go over my 3 speed teams for the 3 threshold in Hell 4 difficulty. Now, having a speed team is actually pretty important because when the double drop rate event happens, which is actually in roughly like 3 days, right? When that happens, everyone has a different schedule, right? You don't want to have some runs that are like 3, 4, 5 minutes or more when you're farming your modules. So you want to have, you know, at least a speed team going, right? So I'll show you, you know, my teams. Maybe you have something similar or it gives you ideas, right? Because I'll talk about you know, the synergy between my animuses. I'll be showing my modules. I'll be showing all that good stuff. So yeah, I mean, here my account, you can see Hell 4. So let's begin with the easiest one, DokiDoki, right? And then it would be Terrormaton, and then it would be Aurora. So let's do this order. Let's I'll just do continuous battle, 1 battle. So the targeting is actually, you know, getting followed, because you can actually set that if you don't know, right? The targeting here, you can set it. So that's how I do my targeting, wave 1 and wave number 2, right? So I use Real Mocha. Real Mocha can one-shot, you know, wave 1. The way that I have it set up is that Real Mocha is actually not able to one-shot the wave number 2 because I have a newly powered up momentum set. I've been using Keen Eye before with Harvest, but now with Momentum, I'm able to do more damage, yes, but the problem is I don't have a Codex of Magic on Kazuyo the Reverie, so she cannot do her AoE sleep. And also, the problem is that my Yang, I could have a Codex of Magic on him, so he can use skill 2 back-to-back, or I can have him go before Kazuyo the Reverie. So what happens is that he actually wakes up the target, the enemy that is asleep, so that's less debuffs for my momentum set to deal more damage. Now, Real Mocha is actually, you know, that is my 3rd damage set, and I would say that this momentum set that I have now is really underwhelming. But I wanted to have all my teams, you know, speed teams going without having to swap gear around, having to swap modules around. Yes, you can set up loadouts, and that's definitely going to help you out a lot if you want to speed things up, especially during a double drop rate event. So let's go here and Terrormaton. And of course, you know, I'm free to play, but of course, I'm not using free to play friendly animuses. I'm using what I have and what is efficient, and, you know, animuses that I can build, that I can bring them in multiple different pieces of content without having to build so many different animuses that, you know, are strong versus, you know, each of the affinities, each of the, you know, elements, colors, like they're called affinities. So you can see the burst damage is pretty high there, right? Like Didding is a god, right? So if you're trying to do a speed team, Didding is going to help you a ton. And yes, I could take out Lily from these team comps and make them work without Lily, but these are my teams, and I'm gonna try to be as efficient as possible, as fast as possible, right? All these have 100% success rate. Even Aurora, if things don't go my way, it's still 100%. So continuous battle here. Let's do 1. So Aurora, what can happen is that, well, there's the 10% chance that your debuffs don't land, even if you have enough effect accuracy, right? Like, that's just the way it is in this game, and it's unfortunate. And that's why Codex of Magic is actually pretty powerful, right? Like, having an Animus use their skill 3 back to back, it makes it easier. So just like, let's say Viper, you know, he's not able to remove the immunity, then that means you don't have attack down and speed down against the target. So that means the target is dealing more damage versus your team, right? And the enemy is going more often, and that's Viper skill 3 is an AoE, it hits everyone. So that means, like, that's big. Having attack down on every target and speed down, so you're gonna be able to cycle them much faster, especially if you have speed buff. If you don't have Lily, yeah, you can get speed buff without having Lily as well. We can see the burst damage is high, and we even have the vulnerable debuff to land from Didding. The shell that I really like is Artisan. Artisan gives you a shield on the wearer plus whoever is at the lowest health, you know, threshold, and that makes it so much easier in terms of like survivability boost. So I'm able to do runs that are even faster than this or slower depending on how the RNG, you know, how things happen. Like, am I getting defense down, right? Or am I getting vulnerable debuff to land? So now let me show you guys the stats of my animuses, why I've built them, you know, this way. So Yelly, fully invested into her because, well, I lucked out. I got her free to play, so why not, right? Like, you want to be as efficient as possible. Of course, building constant and disorder animuses is going to make it so much easier. Being at affinity advantage, 15% crit rate boost, having 15% final damage increase, as well as receiving quite a bit less damage. Reduce 30% crit rate that you know, you could receive. That's a reduction of that. Reduce 50% effect accuracy, so less chance to receive debuffs on you, as well as receiving 15% less, you know, extra final damage. So that's beautiful, right? So Yelly with Revelation, just amazing. Of course, I don't have everything min-max. I'm missing like Mythic and Mythic, so, you know, I got other priorities, and that's the way I have her built. Kenai, I mean, I would prefer for PvE to have momentum, and Kenai doesn't seem to work for the follow-up attacks. So I'm gonna go over this stuff really quick because I have 10 animuses to show in total. That's actually, you know, the amount of animus that I have built for these 3 speed run, 3 threshold, if you are wondering. So yeah, it works out pretty well. My stats on the, you know, Kenai and Harvest, they're actually pretty solid. She has a lot of speed, a lot of base speed too, so it helps. Yeah, I mean, that's the way she is, right? So let's move on to, I'll just show them in order, basically. Claws, right? A lot of speed, you know, around 100% effect accuracy seems to work quite well because she has a high chance to actually land her debuff. So you don't need like 200% effect accuracy unless you're going to be, you know, trying to land the debuffs with a high chance in PvP or versus targets with high effect resistance. You need to counter that with effect accuracy. And of course, I could definitely use quite a few upgrades here. That's crit rate, but that's 12 speed. So, you know, I'm missing effect accuracy on a main stat, but it works out in the end. I'm very close to a time weave to get, you know, a 18% effect accuracy. But she's great with the speed that she has. It's about tuning your team. It's about having them go in the right order for like Dokidoki, but all the other ones, right? Like, you want to, I left it on this because, I mean, I rolled this. So I'm like, okay, I'll leave it. Who knows? Maybe I use Codex Magic on someone else. I do some imprint to change the matrix effects. So yeah, I got lucky, so I left it like this. It's fine. Like, to get a bit of survivability, some health percentage or defense percentage, I'm not gonna go and roll that off. So here you gotta be careful with Lily skill 2 skill ups because it will mess up your turn order if you're getting too much turn meter push for like your Real Mocha, whoever your damage dealer is, which means like you're gonna have to bring the speed for all your other like claws, whoever lands the fans down. You know, it's Dinah. It could be rough. It could be rough. So you gotta be real careful about that. So that is the module that I have on her, just as much speed as possible. If you can get some, you know, HP bonus, percentage, defense, you know, more HP, more defense, more effect accuracy, if you can get those things, great. If not, it's okay. Swift rush with, you know, swift whatever to get another 15% speed if you can. I don't have Inferno getting farmed, so that's not happening for me. And yeah, I mean, Artisan is insane, and I like to stack it, right? So that's what I have. The passives on her. Artisan is just completely broken. Real Mocha, right? Like, this is my skill up priority, skill 3. Very important to get that splash to 100%. Don't need this here, but you could to get the crit rate if you're trying to, maybe, because I've been thinking about something. But even if you get mythic on your shell for your mythic crit, right, you can get up to like 18% crit or 15 to 18% on the mythic. So that's pretty good, and it would allow you to do, if you're using Yang like me, that's 30% crit rate, you are at affinity advantage. Affinity advantage, that's 15% crit rate. So that's 45% crit rate. That means you need 55% crit rate, right? So what you could do is that if you have the mythic crit on the second passive, I mean, don't go for that. If you have mythic crit damage, like don't go crazy for that, right? But like I've noticed that when you're running momentum, you're getting some crit here from the set, and you could potentially drop the crit rate, not have any crit rate main stat modules, and then go like crit damage, attack percentage bonus, or you know, double attack percentage bonus and crit damage, right? So that you can see my you can pause, but my substats are very bad. This is the best one, right? It hit all the best 4, but of course the rolls can vary as well. So a lot of work to be doing here. And sometimes you might not want that speed roll to happen, because maybe Lily is going to push her ahead of, let's say, my Yang, and then it's going to mess up the speed tuning and it's going to ruin the whole thing. So you got to be real careful about something like that. Because yeah, you would have to raise everyone's speed or lower her. Like at that point, I would just swap that piece for something else, because that's not that big of a deal to, you know, like look at the other stats. I don't even need the crit. Some flat, okay, helps for damage, but yeah. And yeah, momentum with Fury, that's definitely like top contender for maximum damage. And of course, if you're missing that extra bit of crit, yeah, that's a lot though. That's 4 of them, that's a lot. So what you could do, I mean, we're not swimming in perfect lattices, but you could potentially do 1, 2, 4% crit, and 3 skill ups, 12% crit rate. And then like, I don't think you need all that. If you have the mythic crit on the passive, right? And if you have enough crit on your substats of your modules, you might be able to just make it happen, because she just needs a total of 55% crit rate if you're going to do Romoka with Yang, right? Since she is at affinity advantage. My Diding, he's been skilled up, you know, since the, like, not long, few days after the release of Etheria Restart, because he is completely busted, right? So his build is actually pretty nice. I like him on Keen Eye. He's not a multi-hitter, so he can fully use Keen Eye. Keen Eye makes it so his follow-up attack from the skill 3, right? It makes it so it deals less damage. Yes, but still, I don't have to worry about landing debuffs to make momentum get as close to 36% damage increase. So, you know, it's okay if the follow-up attack is 15% damage. That's still pretty sweet, right? That's nearly like 3 debuffs with momentum. So I'm perfectly fine with that. I like to have my Diding at 100% crit rate, because he's going to mark usually a side ad. Usually he's marking someone at the start that you're not going to be even targeting. So you want 100% crit rate. And then when he marks whoever you're attacking, that crit rate is getting converted into crit damage at 1.5x. So that's great, right? And if you're going to be getting so much crit damage with Diding, then maybe, you know, you don't want crit damage on the main stat. You want to aim for attack percentage instead, because diminishing return. And yeah, I mean, I lucked out, right? Diding is just amazing. Like, if you can make that happen, do it, right? And that's his shell. I actually got pretty lucky, but I've been working on this one, but I had to drop it because the priority was like real Mocha, because I'm trying to one-shot Inferno, but I don't have enough damage. If I get some better momentum, I can one-shot wave 1, let's say, but then what about wave 2? That's the thing. I have to speed tune my, you know, my animuses. So Viper for Aurora, that's fully skilled up, but priority is the skill number 3. Definitely the priority to get -1 turn and, you know, remove 2 buffs. That's great, increasing the, you know, the chance. And Viper is not that easy to build because, I mean, no, I mean, he's easy to build, actually. Sorry, I'm I mixed him up with Yang. Yeah, effect accuracy, right? And I do have some crit rate because I wanted to have some extra damage out of him. But if I wanted, really, I could have him on defense percentage, right? Or I could have him on another effect accuracy instead of that crit rate. Or for survivability on himself, I could have a HP bonus percentage, right? So yeah, Swift Rush, Brambles for some extra skill 1. It works out pretty well for me. Decent amount of pretty nice speed actually on him. I could use some extra copies. And then, yeah, I mean, defense on that one, Artisan is great. So if I have, instead of like crit rate main stat on the second modules on the right, I could have, you know, more like stronger shields out of Artisan. But it seems like he's pretty much topping off himself and whoever he's putting it on, so it's perfectly fine. I don't know how it works with synergy stacking, if they are of different rarity, right? If I have one with this one, if I have another, you know, Artisan on someone else with the mythic one, I guess the mythic one will take over, and then it would only build a mythic one, and then like the stacking would be like if you have the same rarity or whatever, or the mythic would win and then it would be the one building to 5 stack. But yeah, that's some extra like damage you could get, I guess. Or you could have something like more effect accuracy here. So that's my Viper. Valerian is just completely broken. You want to max this so she gives, you know, the hazy dream at the start of the battle, and then when your animus go, you get basic buff, attack, you know, in this order from left to right. So you're getting attack buff, defense buff. So yeah, and I even skilled this up, but I'm waiting for the double drop rate so I can actually get the materials to get the -1 turn on the skill 2. I use her so much that I figured, you know what? I even brought her to 6-star because I use her that much. So I'm like, why not do the investment, right? That's her modules. Very easy to actually gear her up. She just needs HP. She just needs as much life as possible. So yeah, I mean, she's not that far off from 50,000 HP. It's pretty nice. I have some defense on her. It's pretty decent, especially when you bring to 6-star and you level up, right? And I do have multiple copies for this here. And her shell, another Artisan, right? So here, if I could get defense percentage, shield strength, that's actually nice. That's actually, I think, the highest one. This is temporary, but I rolled that. It was better than what I had before, so I left it, right? So that's my Valerian. And my Ling Lao, I boosted her speed quite a bit, you know, since a few days ago. So I'm working on maxing this thing. I can do it, but the problem is I don't have the material, so I'm waiting for the double drop rate event. And that level 5 is actually really nice, especially when you get her on like Bramble, Swift Rush, right? So yeah, I'm thinking of putting her on Bramble when the time comes, when I have that skill 1 maxed out, and when I get, you know, the module combination. But I like her on Swift Rush plus Cure. It seems to be enough like healing during the battle to, you know, get rid of that debuff that the Aurora puts, so my animus don't start taking a bunch of damage. But it's really good to have all these Artisan protecting my team with all these shields. And, you know, Ling Lao got that immunity too. So you wait a second, I didn't realize this, but my Swift Rush is broken on her. And anyways, it still works, but I actually need to have a yeah, I need to have this because I saw this one with 8% HP bonus. So I was like, oh, let's go with that one, right? So I'm just gonna swap this real quick before I forget. And sometimes when you mess your speed up, she might be like, it's possible that in the rotation she heals before the big damage comes, but as a solo healer in Aurora, it should be perfectly fine still, right? So you see a lot of people with like plus 150, even higher speed Ling Lao. Some have her built as an opener, kind of like in PvP, so she can get that immunity going. So yeah, so I don't have materials. That's something I'm gonna farm. And again, defense percentage here. Yes, having, I mean, it doesn't matter. Her healing is based on the target, the allies, the ally animus's health, right? So you don't even need to care about building her health on her. So building that speed, building some health, defense equally, or stacking a bunch of defense if you're going to be running her with Artisan. But the thing is, a lot of people, you see the second synergy that I have, a lot of people would put her on Supernova, which I can definitely put on her, and that's with Russian Cure, right? So we'll see. Like, let's say for Inferno, I think I'm gonna have to go for that because you're trying to get as much healing output out of her. So I would recommend having her on Supernova, or what is it, Fortissimo, the one that keeps some of the healing, and then, you know, when your allies are low, it like release the healing. That could be actually pretty solid. So Kazuyo the Reverie, you want a lot of speed, effect accuracy. She's beast. She's really crazy as an SR, right? So my skill ups, I invested pretty heavily into her. I could even do that, but it's okay. It's not a big deal. She's perfectly fine this way. And yeah, I would like to have her at 285 speed, so she could like sleep before the enemy goes in Inferno. That's kind of like the goal. That's what I'm going for. Yes, I could swap some gear from my Lily to make it happen, but the problem is I'm gonna lose a lot of effect accuracy if I do that. I had to drop her speed considerably because I wanted her to be slower than my claws, because I don't have the skill ups on class skill 1, so she can outspeed her with that extra 15 speed hidden on the skill 1, you know, passives. So yeah, I could have still high speed, but I need to skill up my class. It's not a high priority now. So yeah, I had to just, sometimes you have to speed tune like that so you can get as much damage as possible out of your momentum, right? That's another thing. So yeah, you do have to tune your team accordingly, even more so when you're running momentum. So Halloween's working great on her. That random skill -1 turn, 80% chance. It's pretty solid. Happens every 3 turns. The thing is, I mean, it works great on her actually because her skill 2, it's actually a passive. It's not a skill, but if you put that like on claws, it could be either skill 3 or skill 2 that gets the -1 turn, and it's not even 100%. That's why claws, I prefer her on Codex of Magic. So the final one, that's it. That's the final animus that I'm going to show. It's Yang. He has quite a bit of speed. He's not that easy to actually gear because he needs a high amount of effect accuracy, and he needs 70% crit rate unless he is at affinity advantage. So you don't need like 70% crit rate. You need a 55% crit rate. Let's say you're going to be using him in a speed team in Inferno Nico Nana, right? Which I don't even do anymore. I just bring Valerian, and she got double nerf. So yeah, I even got skill ups invested in him, right? I had to get some speed into the skill 1 to use him for an Inferno Nico Nana, and it was hard to speed tune. That crit rate buff and attack buff is really great. Like that's a lot of value out of that, right? So Yang, that's the thing. That's why he's hard to build, is because when he crits, he increases allies turn meter 8% each hit, 3 hits, and 3 hit are on critical hit. Each of the 3 hit have 45% chance to dispel 1 buff. So like you need a lot of effect accuracy to double this amount to bring it to 90%, and even there's 10% chance to actually miss your debuff, or you know, to actually remove the spell buff from the enemy. So yeah, you need to build crit, you need to build effect accuracy, and that's after building speed on him. And yeah, the survivability will just come along building these 3, and then you need skill ups on him as well for the skill 2. I mean, you don't need it actually. It would still work because if you one tap with Romoka, you will still have the attack buff for wave 2, right? But if you're running something else and you don't one tap on, you know, one turn, then yeah. And yeah, you can use him in, you know, Etheria offense, RTA as well, if you're going to be playing very offensively, right? High speed, gonna cleave. So yeah, I mean, definitely harder to build. So I would like to hear what you guys think about all that in the comment section. I have him on Black Flag, but actually before I was running Artisan on him, and that was actually better. I just have, you know, leftover shell for him to get extra speed, but like I could definitely have an Artisan with 40 speed, the Inferno triple matrix effect, and then, you know, it would be an Artisan on him, which is way more valuable than this because I already have speed buff, right? And I don't even need him to cycle faster. So yeah, I'd like to hear what you guys think about all that in the comment section. Yes, I'm using Lily. Yes, I'm using Yelly. I'm free to play. I want to be as efficient as possible, right? And I wanted to just share my team, how they're built, and maybe it does give you some ideas to improve your team, even if you don't have Lily, right? But yeah, the gist of this is for kind of like remembering the stat line that I had on my animuses to give you as well an idea of the stats that are required to like pull off these speed runs. That's gonna be it for this one. I'm Astranox. Good luck with all ya do. Peace out for now.